So as always, folks, whether it's a corporate executive, whether it's an owner of a franchise, a multiple real estate player, a coach on either the high school, college level, whatever the case may be, somebody that's impacting the world and making the world a better place based on the example that they bring forth. I have with me no greater or no better legend in my world than the mighty Randy Foye. What's up, Randy?
What's up, man?
How's
everything?
It's good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Just want to introduce everyone to the world here, who you are in my community. Not only a 11-year NBA vet, has had massive success at the NBA level. Prior to that, the college level, which was an incredible journey for you. And you first popped up on my radar screen, both being in New Jersey when you were named New Jersey Player of the Year in high school. Mm-hmm. I saw you get an award at halftime during the, I want to say it was the Final Four, or at least it was at Rutgers during the...
I think it was at the Continental Airline Arena.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so I was able to see who Randy Foye was at that particular time. From a distance, I was able to see your journey through Villanova, which, by the way, when we look back on it, you were probably one of the first marquee players that Coach Wright drafted. Is that a fair statement? I mean, he came on in 2001. You came on in 2002 or 3, right?
Yeah. So we were Jay Wright's first recruiting class.
You were. That's what I thought.
in that class, it was myself, Jason Frazier, Alan Ray, and Curtis Sumter. And we had Baker Dunleavy with us, which he coached, won a national championship with Coach there. And he's coaching at Quinnipiac now.
Wow.
We also had Mikey Claxton there, Speedy Claxton, younger brother. But Speedy, he was great for Coach Wright at Hofstra University.
That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
But the coolest thing about these stories is I would have never went to Villanova, right, if Steve Lapis didn't take the job.
I was just going to ask you, who was the coach before Jay Wright?
If Steve Lapis didn't take the job and go to UMass, he was at Villanova coaching, but he took the job, went to UMass, and Tommy Emerica was at Seton Hall, and he left Seton Hall and went to Michigan, but he didn't take his coaching staff.
Wow.
And Freddie Hill was the guy who I was dealing with on a day-to-day basis here in New Jersey, talking to me about Seton Hall. And then, once Tommy Emerica took the job at Michigan, Freddie Hill needed a job, and he said to me, give me 2 weeks. And I was thinking more like 2 days, or I was going to go somewhere else. But Jay Wright didn't get the job. He didn't take the job at Rutgers. He didn't go to UMass. He ended up going to Villanova.
Wow.
And he hired Freddie Hill.
It's amazing how all that timing and history and everything else. And I think for you, your journey is, insurmountable odds, I would say, just from a distance. Not, growing up with you, but, I grew up in Bayonne, which is Hudson County, not far from Newark, where you grew up. And it's definitely a different league, but different speed. But I think the journey you had to get to where you are today, listen, there's folks that may have had a similar journey that made it to the NBA. I think your story post-NBA is just incredible. I mean, because from my seat, you read, you hear certain things. We have, CFPs down the hall that are NFL and NBA approved, but typically athletes in all shapes and sizes, when they retire, they typically go bankrupt after a certain amount of time, right? That's just what's out there. That's the information that's out there. And it's not something they did wrong. It goes back to money, understanding money. A lot of folks that watch this are money mindset oriented, and being able to not only survive financial success, because there's a charge with money. It's not just about presidents with paper. It's about the feeling you get with money. And growing up, listen, we ran out of money on the 20th of every month. My parents bounced checks all the time. There was drugs and alcohol in my family. My sister was a full-blown heroin addict by the time I was 16. She was 16, I was 8. My dad was in rehab for alcohol when I was in 7th grade. My mom was on prescription pills from when I was 3 years old. She's still alive, but for a long time she was in that space. So in my world of drugs, alcohol, and chaos and confusion, it was present for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which we're going to get into right now, your journey is unbelievable. And I think that the way you things happen for you, which goes to your DNA, rules, rituals, habits, outcome, structure, all this other things, which is what entrepreneurs are really all about, Can you talk about the early years growing up?
Yeah, my early years growing up was extremely tough. Lost my dad at the age of 3, lost my mom at the age of 6, was in, different households where, lived with the aunt, lived with the uncle, some of my mom's siblings, just pretty much bounced around. They had to split me and my brother up because...
What's the age difference between you and your brother?
It's 2 years.
Okay, got it.
But it's just financially, my grandmother couldn't support both.
Yeah.
Right? And we were so young at the time. It was basically, I would say 6 and 4 that she couldn't handle that at that age.
Yeah.
Right? So, a cousin, a family member helped my brother. And it just was tough, man. Just growing up in Newark, New Jersey, and the 80s and the early 90s, like you had to be, not only, physically tough, but you had to be mentally tough where you had to understand how to maneuver through certain situations and who to hang with, who not to hang with, because, if you hang with the wrong person, you can lose your life.
Yeah.
And on several occasions, I saw people, lose their lives just from hanging out on a corner. I saw people, in stolen cars, crash and, paralyzed or in the hospital. So it's a lot. It's a
New
lot.
Jersey Drive, right?
Yeah.
Remember that movie? Yeah.
That's real. It's still real to this day. We live in a bubble.
Yeah.
Right. And with us living in a bubble, a lot of things are going on in the real world.
Yeah.
Right. Where people are living in poverty.
Yeah.
Us in this bubble, and I'm a part of the bubble now. We don't get it.
Can I ask you a question though? Like, because when I was young growing up, I was very insecure, and I'm sober in AA since 1996. So I was subjected to drugs. Thank you, drugs and alcohol. But I didn't start drinking until I was a senior in high school, and I did cocaine within that same year, and then that lasted for 6 years. Then I got sober. Right? That's my story. So when I was young, it sounded like to me that for some reason you had a level of maturity and awareness that maybe a lot of kids in that scenario, the way things rolled out for you, didn't have. Is there truth to that? I'm just sensing that just based on what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm cerebral, right?
But from day one, were you like that? Like as far as you remember?
I just always feel like, I have like a superpower when it comes to reading people, right? So, and sometimes I'm human.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
But I would say a lot of times I'm right. And everyone that surrounded me in my small circle, it's all about, how we connect on a personal level.
Yeah.
Right. It's never, what you do when you're in front of me.
Yeah.
It's always what you do when I'm not around.
That's right.
And a lot of times me and my friends, I have the same friends since high school and elementary school. So that's just the way I do things. And I try to place people, around me, or people who want to be around me.
Yeah.
I try to, always do things where they're in a situation where they're happy and we're having fun, right?
Yeah.
And I trust them.
Yeah.
And I don't only trust them, when I'm there, but I trust them with my kids.
Yeah.
I trust them around my wife.
Yeah.
I just trust them, my private and personal business. I trust them. So that's what, that's where I feel as though I have a superpower when it comes to judging people.
Reading characters.
I just understand, because there's so many different characters, in the inner city growing up, that right away, if I see someone that feel like they're like con artists,
fast talking,
or they trying to get something out of me, or if I see someone that's really quiet, right, that might be, trouble where I'm from,
yes,
right, or if I see like,
or they're studying,
if I see someone with Napoleon complex, and in a room, right. And this is not,
I'm only like,
it's in our bubble, right? There's a lot of people, that, and
there is a lot of Napoleon complex bubbles with money.
But I'm saying like in the inner city, like if it's the smallest person in the room and he has the biggest mouth,
the come up,
trust me.
Yeah.
It's a reason.
Yes.
And that reason can hurt someone.
Yes.
So that's all I'm saying.
And by the way, though, to that's a really good point, because in the city, but even when you get older in business, there's a level of that where it could hurt somebody based on what you just shared. It's not just the outcome of what would happen between, this corner and that corner.
Right.
And the same thing happens in business, whether it's recruiting, whether it's doing something on a corporate level that may not be the right thing. Like that happens all the time. Like and I'm sure you've seen this through college, through the MBA, through certain people always coming to you trying to offer you deals and everything else. It comes in different shapes and sizes. And, you get the people that are talking about other people behind their back and, what I like to call fake confusion.
Yes.
Right? Like with a smile. And it's amazing that those lessons that are learned growing up, how they apply today if you really listen and you watch. And what I admire about you, understanding that part of the journey, is how it kind of transformed into, listen, you stayed with aunts, grandparents, uncles, and that might not have been easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of love, but it's still not easy.
Yeah, but you see, a lot of different characters moving around. So I lived on Prince Street Projects in Newark for a couple of years with my grandmother. Basically grew up in Grafton Ave projects, right? So you think about, I'm moving from South Newark, right, to North Newark.
And friendships matter.
Yeah, and then where my grandparents, when my great-grandfather lived at, was basically on the border of Central Newark and North Newark, where you can kind of choose where you want to go to high school. So I seen everything from, the way Spanish people in the neighborhood, the way they move, the way, African-American people that look like me, the way they move. So I had a sense of, what it's like and the survival tactics you need in that environment. Because if you wasn't smart and you didn't move the right way, things can happen to you. And when it happens, it always happens so fast.
You don't see it coming.
Yeah, you don't see it coming.
When did you pick up a basketball?
I picked up a basketball. It's different now.
Was there a love affair right away?
No, I loved football and baseball.
Were you a big little kid?
I was always or
a good athlete?
Yeah, I was always just a good athlete.
Got it.
Like in baseball, I was a pitcher, right? In football, I was a quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was always like a leader by example. I never was like a rah-rah guy where I was screaming at someone and this is how you got to do this. And, I was always a guy that led by example. Yeah. And, and I was always bigger. Yeah. So I always played with like older people. Okay. Yeah, I always play up and I always play with older people.
And when you played up, did you play well too? Like, were you?
No.
Okay, no. So that's where you got your bloody noses and.
Yeah, okay. I struggled a lot. Like I was an interesting kid, man. Like I said, I maneuvered, but I just knew who to hang with, who to play with. Yeah. And I would always take what happened to me with the older guys on the playground and bring it to guys my age and dominate.
Yes.
All the time.
Love that.
I would do that all the time. So I would see the older guys playing in the morning and I would go out there and play and basically lose every battle. And then I would go and play against people my age and dominate. Yep. Right. And that was playing football, right? And that was also playing baseball.
Amazing.
I would go up against a kid that was probably throwing, let's say, 75 to like 85 miles an hour.
In grammar school.
Yeah. And then strike out every time. Yep. But then go back and the kid that's my age throwing 62, boom. It looks like he's throwing, a lollipop.
Yeah. For all you entrepreneurs out there, let me just kind of tie this into what we talk about, because we always talk about modeling. We always talk about matching and mirroring plus. So what Randy just said, and this is powerful because we talk about the pain-pleasure principle. Psychologically, we like to all avoid pain and gain pleasure, but if you get those wires messed up, you'll avoid competition and play down. What Randy just spoke about, and I think it's amazing, it applies to your business right now. It's what I do with whether I'm with Tony Robbins, Sean Callaghy, whether I'm with Randy Garn, David Meltzer. I play up to those folks, so when I come back here, I'm able to kind of create a message and a movement and be able to build out my own brand. Same thing could happen to you within business, where you want to play up, hang out with people that have been there, done that could teach you the game. It's going to be painful, but with pain there's growth, and it's going to lead eventually to a pleasurable experience. And Randy, thank you so much for sharing that, because a lot of athletes that are young, they want to avoid what you just described. And I don't know if that's a teachable thing. I think some reason for you, it was something that you realized pretty fast, inherently early on, that's a way to grow massively. For some reason, that connected for you. Yeah. Did you get a lot of love from the older guys?
I didn't get a lot of love because when I say street kid, I was a street kid. Like I would go
morning till night.
Yeah, I probably would have the same clothes on. Yeah. 2-3 days. Yeah. Playing basketball, sweaty. Yeah. Go in the house, grandmother yelling at me, you got to make sure you do this or you got to make sure you do that.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yeah, grandma, like I got the same clothes on. Like I changed like everything else, but I have the same clothes on because I'm going to play basketball. Like I got basketball shorts. And then you always say, don't put that stuff in there because we got to take it to the laundromat. We didn't have washing machine and dryer in the house. We had to go to the laundromat. Yeah. So I was like a kid that would just always just show up. And no one would pick me like the older guys. And I wouldn't say nothing because older guys pull a hammy, get hurt. Hey, young fella, you want to play? And I would hop in. And that was it. And I'll just get after it. Lose, defensive mistakes, people yelling at me. I didn't care. But I used to always show up. So you didn't
take it personal? Huh? You didn't take it personal?
Oh, I never take.
You had a built-in. Yeah, that's important.
Like just in life, I never take anything personal because I think if you take things personal, that's a sign, to me, that's a sign of weakness. Right? You always have to be able to, have conversations, figure things out on the move, and then understand that if someone's saying stuff or they put you in a situation where you feel uncomfortable, remove yourself from the situation, right? And say, is it worth being around these people if they're making me feel this way? Yeah.
Now, did you know that early on?
I didn't know that. I kind of figured that out.
You did?
When I got to high school, because in high school being really good, and being like number one basketball player in my class, right? There was a lot of hate. Huh?
You were number one guard in America?
No, in New Jersey.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I was number one in New Jersey.
Did you play as a freshman? Did the basketball become part of your story?
Yeah, like so I kind of dropped.
Were older people coming to look at you because you were so good?
Yeah, I kind of dropped baseball and football. Okay, I would say like at 13.
Got it.
Yeah, I can remember I was at my aunt's house and baseball coach was like, "Oh my God, you'd be so good. You're like 6'2", like 13 years old, like pitcher. You throw so hard." He was like, "You just need to play." And I can remember my AAU coach saying, "Hey, we're going to Delaware. We're going to Ohio. Do you want to come? What do I have to ask my grandmother for? Oh, it's free. We're sponsored by Adidas."
That was a different place.
Yeah. So I'm like, basketball for free. Or
hotel, food.
Hotel. No, we had we used to do the dollar menu.
Yeah.
She used to give me $10.
I can still do,
She used to give me $10 and I would go do the dollar menu. And not even 10, I think it was like 5. So it was just like some fries and some chicken, grab a Gatorade, and then do the same thing the next day. You see, like once a day, man. Back in the day, you used to eat once a day. So much traveling, but it made sense to do basketball because I wanted to travel, right, and see the country at that time. And at that time, baseball just wasn't doing that. We was playing in the Roberto Clemente League, and it just was. We were there, People came into us, so we like went to people, around the state, but we weren't going to Ohio, Vegas, Georgia.
Is that at 13 you were on those trips?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
We were out. We had on my team, Al Harrington was there, Jay Williams was there.
Oh, you're too really?
Yeah.
Okay. Were they
Dante
older?
They were older.
Okay.
They were 3 and 4 years older.
Got
Al is 4 years older than me, but they were the monsters on the team. They were the monsters around Jersey. Jay Will played for St. Joe Metuchen. I remember looking up to him. He's like 3 or 4 years older than me. Al Harrington went to St. Patrick's. He's 4 years older than me. And that did something to me, and that did something to my life. That June when Al Harrington got drafted, I was in the 8th grade, and he was in the 12th.
That's right. He didn't go to college.
And he went number 25 overall to Indiana.
That's right.
To the Indiana Pacers.
You saw that.
And I could remember sitting there, and I was like, wow. Like, I knew Al was nice.
Yeah.
But I didn't know he was that nice.
So that gave you...
And it did something to me. Like, I just was like, I was in awe. 1998, I was in awe. Like, if he can do it, and I'm in the gym, and I'm watching him play, and I'm young, and I'm on the sideline, then I'm coming in, subbing in, I'm on the 3rd and 4th team. I'm
on
subbing
those
in.
Teams.
Yeah.
Wow.
And once they get tired, we coming on, we playing, and then like Jay Will, like, yo, you got a chance. Al looking at me like, yo, you nice.
How great is that?
Right?
When you
that
feeling,
that's such a I knew I had a chance, right? But everyone knew I had like problems, right? I had a little bit of, I wouldn't say anger problems, but I was to myself.
Yeah.
And
no, you didn't speak a lot.
Didn't talk a lot.
With the other guys.
And thinking about
it. That's how Rob is, by the way.
Yeah, thinking about it now.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thinking about it now, there's probably some trauma going on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. No
you
question.
Think about it. It was like, really didn't talk a lot. And when I was in a room with people, I always felt extremely guarded. Like something was going. Like I was watching people in the room.
Did you have a mindset Curious, mom and dad, 3 and 6. Did you have a mindset that the shoe was always going to drop? And is that why you were always reserved and quiet? Did you think like, let me not get too close because I don't want to lose whatever this is?
Always I always was guarded. You know, I never wanted to, get too close.
Yep.
Like to people this day. I remember my aunt would just be like, "Oh, I love you," and I just be like, "All right, bye." Right.
Yeah, you know
so
what
I never say at the end of calls.
Yeah.
Now I do.
Yeah.
Right. Because I learned, matured as a man. But when I was young, I would never say, "Hey, love you guys." Never would do that. Just say, "Hey, take care. See you guys soon."
Yeah. Must have been tough, man.
There was another guard. His name was Sal Thompson. And
never heard of him.
Yeah.
There's a reason why, right?
Yeah, it's a reason why.
Yeah.
No, he didn't lose his life or anything, but it's a reason why.
There's a reason why?
Yeah, it's something. He got caught up.
Yeah. And that happens too?
And that happens to a lot of kids, but he had a chance.
How good was he?
His handle was probably one of the best handles. Just in and out crossovers behind the back.
From Newark?
He was from Newark, yeah. I think he was from like West/South Newark. But I remember the reason why I went to East Side was because of him.
Really?
Yeah, he was a year older than me. No, I think he was 2 years older than me.
Did you get to play with him at all in high school?
No, he transferred. No, he went to North Carolina.
Okay.
And once he transferred, they ended up giving me the keys.
And that was the best thing for you.
It wasn't the best thing because I would have played with him. And he was like, I think Sal was like probably like 5'10".
Yeah.
But Sal being 5'10", and me being, I would have been the 2 guard.
Yeah.
Right? So we would have played in the backcourt together. But I don't know, man. He set the tone, man.
Yeah.
He was different.
He was your standard.
He was a point guard.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Sal if you're out there.
Shout out to Sally Al. But he was different.
Yeah.
And that helped me with my point guard skills from watching him.
Yeah.
Because it would be like him, Jay Will.
Yeah.
Dante Jones.
I remember him too.
Yeah, Dante is the assistant coach with the Clippers right now.
Yeah, wow. When I was coming up in the 86 to 89, there wasn't a lot of 6'4" point guards. There really wasn't. It started towards the end of that, but you were kind of, I would say, an outlier as a point guard going. You were kind of a bigger point guard, right?
Yeah, I was tall, man.
Like, how tall are you when you went in? 6'4"?
Yeah, I'm 6'4". But I was in high school. I was the same size.
Yes.
So I can remember my AAU coach, Sandy Pione, is always saying, you're not a shooting guard or a small forward. You're a guard. You need to be able to handle. You need to be able to shoot. You need to be able to pass. And a lot of Jay Wright was like, hey, you need to be able to do all that. And we recruited you because you could do all that, but you need to be able to defend. And not only defend, you need to be able to rebound, push the ball, right? You need to dive on the floor, all the little things. We know you can do the big things, handle the ball, shoot, and pass, but you need to do the little things to help us win. So I give a lot of credit to Sandy Pione and Jay Wright.
So for all the people that don't understand what it's like to be a blue chip basketball player, can you talk about and this all relates to business, but can you talk about the level of recruitment that began to happen to a kid from Newark?
And it started early for me, and I didn't realize what was going on, but it started like in 7th grade.
Wow.
It started in 7th grade where people just started noticing me.
Wow.
And the recruitment from which AAU team I would go to, will be, New Jersey Roadrunners were big at that time.
That was the first one. That was Hurley and them.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the Tim Thomas players were massive.
Tim Thomas.
So we would be, at that time, we were number 2 in the state and they were number 1.
Yep.
And it became, I wouldn't say an argument, but the recruiting started there.
Yeah.
Dealing with Jimmy Salmon, dealing with Sandy Pione. And it just resonated with me because it felt at the time that a lot of guys that played for Jimmy was, from the Patterson, Teaneck, Northern Jersey. And it seemed like a lot of guys that played for the Roadrunners, they were from like Jersey City and Newark.
Yep.
Right. So, and it's a mixture now, but that's what it felt like to me. So I just went with who I was comfortable with. If I was living in, Passaic County or up there at that time during that era, I probably would have played up there.
Yeah. Was there integrity breaches? Like, how did you stay in a place where, there's fine lines, even before you knew what rules were, especially 7th, 8th, 9th grade. I don't know what the conversations are like, but how were you able to maintain a level of integrity throughout that process as your star began to climb?
Just understanding that when you work hard, good things happen.
Yeah.
When you're a good person, they always say, "Oh, good guys finish." That's not true, right? Good guys don't finish last.
No, they don't.
Right? When you're a good person and you work hard and you care for others, things just happen. And the reason why, I had so much success in high school because I cared for others. I could have went out. Yeah, I could have went out and scored 50, 60 points or try to like break records, right? But I understood if I had 10 points and 10 assists and the guys that were with me, they were happy.
And
we had a better chance to win. Not that game because we're basically destroying the team, but later in the States when it's one and done. And I learned a lot of that from just being around point guards. I learned a lot of that from being around shooting guards. I learned a lot of that from sitting on the side when I was younger and watching the best player give, the not, let's say 3, 4, 5 guy on the team, give him the ball and he score, watching how hard he played defense after that.
Yeah.
So that was just me being a sponge, like I said.
Yeah.
Just watching and observing everything that was going on.
Yeah.
And the integrity of it, I'm just sitting back and I'm saying to myself, this is where success is built. And me understanding that you need a great team around you, but that team they have to feel wanted, right? And with that team being around you, not only are they feel wanted, but they got to be a part of something that feels like special.
Wow. Business owners, team builders, everybody that is in the place of scaling their business and replacing themselves and going on a meteoric rise, you just heard the ingredients of how a team, whether it's a general manager, CEO, COO, CFO, whatever the case may be, the breakdown that happened there was incredible because at the end of the day, if you think about, look at his star as a 8th grader, 9th grader, 10th grader. To his point, he probably could have scored 2,000, 3,000 points in high school, but everyone around him would have been turned off by his success. Now, what he did, and I love the way he always thought about the future because he understood growing up the importance of getting playing time and having people aligned, right? So when you have alignment with your teammates, even though you're the star of the team, but you're sacrificing in a way for the team to win versus individual accolades, success leaves clues. It doesn't show up at the front door. You got to go take things. They're not going to just be given to you. That breakdown of what he did in high school is incredible. And I'm sure the right coaches began to see that, in your recruitment process. And that's an amazing, thank you for sharing that. That's really amazing.
One thing that I learned early on, the team is the star. So if Rob Gill is making X amount of money and everyone is not making anything, they're not going to work as hard.
That's right.
Right?
You got that right.
But a lot of times, and when you're doing business things and I'm in the game of we, right?
Yep.
Is better than me.
That's right.
A lot of times when people just want their family taken care of.
That's right.
They're going to grind, right?
Yep.
But that health insurance, right? Better be right. That 401k better be right. The pension better be right. So I think that for me, I understood that early on, and I took that to college.
Amazing. And your recruitment, did you have like 5 or 6 schools before you decided Nova?
Yeah, I had.
What was that?
The one school that I really wanted, I love the way Billy Donovan guards played at Florida. And we were in Vegas at the big time, and Billy Donovan came over.
Who was there when you played against them?
I don't even remember, but I just remember like he had some I think he had like some top guards. I think it was like Anthony Robeson.
That's right.
And then I love Duke because Jay Will played on.
Did you get a lot of Krzyzewski time?
He played on my AAU team.
Yeah.
But I guess just the type of kid I was at that time.
Yeah.
They wasn't recruiting kids from the inner city.
Understood.
Like that. So
should have.
Should have.
Missed
right?
the boat on that one. Yep.
Yeah. And they took the kid Sean Dockery from Chicago. But I wanted to go there. I wanted to go to Cincy. I thought I was a Cincy because I love Kenny Satterfield from New York. Kenyon Martin was there.
That was the team you would have been on?
I wouldn't have been on that team. They were older than they were like 4 years older.
Oh, he had just left.
But I would have came in and I think I would have played 2 years with Kenny.
Yeah.
Right? So you got Kenny, and now I'm looking at Seton Hall because it's home.
Yep.
Rutgers, right?
Yep. Heavy recruitment, like heavy, like home, like trying to get you.
Like at Rutgers and Seton Hall was at every single thing.
Every day.
We were having practices. Cincinnati was at our practices. Florida came up a few times. Duke came up. Or we saw Duke everywhere we went and had some type of interaction with them. So we just, like, as a team, Villanova wasn't even in the picture.
Now, why is that? Because Jay Wright wasn't there yet?
Jay Wright was at
Got
Hofstra.
it. Okay. So the other guy wasn't even.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
Understood.
This is like early on, like the people that were around.
Was your teammate so souped up? That's just like an 80s word. So souped up to see all this attention that was being brought to them. And some of your guys might have got scholarships at other schools because of.
They didn't have the grades, though.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So I was with Nick. So I love Nick. I know you love Nick.
Yes.
Right. Hudson Catholic guy, great guy. Nick's sister.
Wow, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, she did a SAT prep in Bloomfield, and I would have to take the bus there, and I think it was Tuesday, Thursday. So I would practice, and she would stay after, and she would help me prep for the SAT.
And you knew Nick back then too?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was at Bloomfield Tech at the time,
and they were good.
They were really good.
Yeah, they made it to the finals.
They were really
right?
good. Yep.
Yeah.
We played them in the Essex County tournament.
Nick, a lot of love here for you, brother. And your sister.
Like we reconnected
at the fort?
At the fort for the men's mentor. Teddy Sorless.
Teddy Sorless made you shout out.
Basketball tournament. Yeah, me and Nick reconnected, but he was always I just always thought he was like legit, a solid guy.
Yeah.
Like trustable. He wanted me to go to Bloomfield Tech, understood who Sandy was, understand who the East Side coach was at that time.
Yeah.
And just understood that relationship drove me basically to East Side.
Yeah.
So.
And that would never change even with new information now, right? You still would have went to East Side?
I should have went to St. Anthony's.
Well.
Because everyone was going
Did
to
he come after you?
Yeah. Everyone was going to St. Patrick's at the time. But I felt like I lived to get to Journal Square and do all of that. I just
a lot of buses.
Yeah. I didn't a lot of walking. It would have been an hour and a half commute. I just didn't love it. And then St. Pat's, I didn't love the commute. But East Side, the beauty of it, right? The 34 was basically took me from Roseville Ave, which was like 4 blocks from my house.
Yep.
And it was like a 40-minute bus ride, but it dropped me off right in front of East Side.
Yeah. And it was convenient. It was much easier for you. Let me ask you this. Did you play St. Anthony's at all in high school at any point?
Yes, we played St. Anthony's our first game my senior year. I think they were like number 1 in the state.
Yeah.
And I think we were number 2. And they ended up beating us, I think, by, I don't know what it was, but I know I had a great game. Yeah. But they beat us.
Wave of guards.
They had Donald Copeland. They had Elijah Ingram. They had Dwayne Anderson. So I think that was St. John, Seton Hall.
Yeah.
St. Joseph's in Philly.
Yeah. And that was around the same time that Camden had, what's his name?
DeJuan Wagner.
Yeah. Yes. He was scoring like 100 a game. I remember that. Or at least in one game. So, wow, dude. So now, all right, all of a sudden, senior year, things are changing real fast. Jay Wright comes on the scene.
Yes.
And he's building something that Nova hasn't seen ever before, even though they had won a championship in '85 in a miraculous fashion. But he was about to build something
special.
We were
struggling. So you think of, we had really good players at that time, but I think it was like 7 to 8 years where it was a tournament drought.
Yeah.
So we were really struggling. And
you're talking about in the 90s, late 90s.
Late
95
90s.
to 2001, 2, 3.
Yeah. It was like right after Kerry. I think Kerry and those
Kerry
guys, yes.
Yeah.
They lost to Old Dominion, I think in the first or second round. And it just was a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And Lapis was there. He was a good coach. He had some success there. But Coach Wright, just his vision was different. He just wanted to, his whole thing was just playing Villanova basketball, playing a certain way, right? Building an identity. And no matter if things are going right or if things are going wrong, the team, right? The structure of the team, you can tell if we're playing the right way.
Yeah.
No matter if that team goes on a run, no matter if we go on a run, you can tell from playing Villanova basketball that no matter what, we always had a chance to win.
Because of the systems and processes and strategies.
Just because of everything that was in place from day in and day out.
Yeah, the way he prepped everything.
The way we built habits. People, like we had roles. Certain guys knew exactly what they could do. And if someone was out of character, you can tell right away. Yeah. Like, you don't do that. Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. Bring it back. Yeah.
Can you tell me about how you felt? Because you've seen a lot of coaches recruit you. Mm-hmm. What was his integrity? What was his biorhythms, his message? Like, how did you feel? Because you got to say yes at some point, right? And something happened that you said yes to.
So Freddie Hill was like Seton Hall, Seton Hall, Seton Hall, Seton Hall. Then he goes 0 dark 30. He was coming to my high school. He's coming to my high school every day. So when he goes 0 dark 30, I'm saying to my high school coaches, Coach Garb and Anthony, Coach Tavares, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And they want me to stay local, but they don't know if Coach Hill's 0 dark 30 because it might turn from Seton Hall to hey, you want to go to Michigan.
Got it. So he was the conduit, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
He was your that's your
class.
CEO. Yeah.
For that class, he set the tone. Basically, we were going wherever. He was so unique in his recruiting style.
Yeah.
Where he made you feel like he was your uncle or he was one of your boys.
Got it.
Right? So he goes 0 dark 30, I would say, for like 2 days. Coaches trying to connect with him. And then like within 2 days, he get back to me and he said, hey, I'm not going to Michigan, but I think I have something really good that's going to happen. And that was either going to be Coach Wright was going to go to Rutgers and he was going to be with him, assuming at this point, or he was going to go elsewhere and Coach was going to take Freddie Hill. And he come back like a week later, I'm pissed, I'm this kid and I'm seeing guys sign. So I'm thinking I'm missing out.
So it's a nerve-wracking time.
Yeah, because I see the kid sign, Anthony I think his name, Robeson.
Yep.
See him sign with Florida. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
He's ranked pretty high. I see Sean Dockery sign with Duke. Whoa, that's another guard. He's ranked pretty high.
Yep.
So now, should I wait or should I commit to Cincy?
Now this is after the season, or is this?
This is like
in March, or is this like in January?
This is like going through the summer, like the end of the summer.
Okay, so you're at September yet. Got it. All right.
And now it's getting close to September.
Got it. Which you want to be signed by then.
Yeah, you want to be signed.
Yeah. Yep.
So you want to sign your letter of intent.
Yeah.
And then Coach Hill comes and he don't call. He just shows up.
Okay.
Just took the associate head coaching job at Villanova University.
Now, how'd you feel about like Villanova, like in that moment?
Had no clue.
Were they even okay?
I just knew Kerry Kittles wore one sock high and the other sock low, and he can almost dunk from the free throw line.
That's
and
right.
Is Ray Allen, right?
Yeah.
Allen Iverson, Kerry Kittles in the Big East.
Yeah.
And he plays for Villanova, and their uniforms were cool.
Yeah.
That's all I knew about Villanova at the time. I'm sorry. Tim Thomas also. I knew he was a freshman there. I know he did one and done. Yeah. That's all I knew about Nova.
Yeah.
That's it.
But so you knew they were legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I knew they were legit. I knew they were in the Big East.
They checked off your list.
Yeah. So, everything is timing. So I do my visit. Me and my grandmother come up on a.
So was that your right woman person, your grandmother?
Yes.
In those decisions, is that
she didn't
your
understand.
Force?
Yeah, she didn't understand what was going on, though.
Yeah, but she was your
your
blanket.
But a lot of coaches were around, but our Coach Wright came up, and Freddie Hill came up, and they expressed like how important it was, for me to go to Villanova and, come down, make it my first visit. And Coach Wright and Freddie, they went to Park Ave in Newark, New Jersey. And it was a ton of people outside. It was like in the summertime after he took the Nova job, he had his suit on, Coach Wright, he's looking like he's about to coach a game. Pull up in a Range Rover, hop out the Range Rover, says to me or whatever, Coach Wright looks extremely nervous because they think he's the cops. So everyone's like, you good? You good, Foye? You good? You good, Foye boy? You good? I'm like, yeah. This is Villanova University. Oh, all right, we're making sure.
Yeah.
And we get KFC.
Yeah.
We get a bucket of chicken.
Yep.
Some biscuits.
Yep.
Mashed potatoes.
Love my biscuits. Yep.
My grandmother's sitting there. We're eating. Freddie's like sitting on the bottom of the steps eating. Coach Wright take his suit jacket off, put it on the banister. He sits down, we're eating, and we just talk for like 2 hours. And she was like, Randy, I really like that, man. Yeah. At the end. Yeah. And Coach Hill lived in, he's from East Orange, but I think at that time he was living somewhere in Jersey. He hadn't moved to Pennsylvania yet.
Got it.
And I was like, you know what? Let's see. I'm gonna make sure that's my first visit because I was gonna make my first visit elsewhere.
Got it.
But I was like, let me make that my first visit. And I remember we took the train up. First visit, Jason Frazier's there, right? All these different people were there. And I know Jason Frazier was like North Carolina, all the top schools wanted Jay.
Yeah.
And Jason Frazier's there, Curtis Sumter's there, Allen Ray's, all of us were there, like the class that eventually turned everything around. And I'm looking in a crowd, and we're in Jake Nevin, and it's just a crowd of like kids on the floor, and they're playing music, and they're introducing the guys or whatever. And as they're introducing the guys or whatever, I just see a sign, right? And there's one sign. It says, Foye, please come. We want you here. Like that. And I just see my last name huge. Obviously, I know it was set up.
Yeah.
Right?
It felt good, though.
But it felt good.
Yeah.
And then I hung out with the guys, had some, we ate afterwards. I think they took us to like Dave and Buster's, all of us. And I was like, you know what? This feels right. The next day I had breakfast with the coaches, and they did a blue-white game. And this feels right. And we got back on the train, and as we're driving on the train, I call Freddie Hill. And I was like, yeah, I want to commit. And he was like, huh? He's like, normally doesn't happen that fast. I was like, yeah, it just felt right. Yeah. It's like, it's not a big school, smaller, community-based. I like this setup. That's what I said to him. Yeah. I like the setup. Yeah. So he was like, when can I come up? So I think on Monday, I said to him, it was Sunday, I said to him, he told Coach Wright, everyone was happy I committed, but they wanted me to sign a letter of intent. Of course. Right? So we go to Fornos in Newark, in East Newark, and I signed a letter of intent. Yep. And getting ready to start my senior year, and it's on. It's on.
And the other guys saw that you signed right away too, right? The class that you came out with? The other players?
Yeah, it was somebody Allen Ray signed first.
Oh, he did? Okay, so it was quick though.
But the reason why, when Allen Ray signed, me and Allen Ray played against each other that summer. Yeah. And I was like, yo, this kid we're totally opposite.
So you saw the connection.
Yeah, he's a shooter, right? He's coming off screens. I'm like ball handling, getting to the basket, shoot when I have to. Totally different. Point guard, that's my two. Yeah. I like that. I saw him play. I don't think he played for the Gauchos. I'm not sure who he played for, but I saw him play in Connecticut. Yeah. And he played well. He committed, right? Then I think that Jason Frazier, I played against Jason leading up to the season at the Gauchos. I played against Jason Frazier. I think it was like Taekwon Dean. They played for the Long Island Panthers. It was Taekwon Dean, Mikey Claxton, Jason Frazier, Curtis Sumter on that team, and we beat them in the championship. And I think I had like 55 points. And Jay was like super mad, and I see him like, if you know Jay, he like super mad, passionate about everything. And then when he see me, he was like, good game. And then Coach Hill afterwards, he said the best thing that probably happened for us getting him is you scoring 55 on him.
You felt good about it. Huh? He felt like he could trust you on the court.
No, because he felt like if I'm going to be playing with him.
That's what I'm saying.
And Allen.
We got something. We're building something.
Yep. And now Curtis Sumter on his team, 6'7", commit. Yeah. And then Jay Frey commits to Nova.
Amazing.
So me and Jay are roommates. It's huge. Yeah. Long Island kid from Amityville, kid from Newark. And we just clicked.
Right away?
He had 5 knee
Friendship for life?
Yeah, we still talk to this day. Yeah. He had 5 knee surgeries that kind of threw a wrench in, his future as an NBA basketball player.
And that happens too, right? Yeah. That's part of the journey for some players.
But the way he has bounced back, working, coaching in the NBA, being on the bench, behind the bench, being a principal now in Phoenix, Arizona.
See that? It's not just during the years. It's the life lessons and how you could really help other people and your family. So let me just kind of ask a question, because Ed Milet talks about our temperature, our life temperature, and some people that they have a certain economic temperature, right? That they feel they deserve or don't deserve. So a lot of times you'll see folks that may achieve a level of financial success, but down deep, they don't think they deserve. This is not you. Down deep, they don't think they deserve it. That happened to me on my first wave of financial success that I had in 2008, 9, 10, and 11, 7 figures. Never came from an economic background, understanding of money, right? And as a result of it, I'd start missing meetings, or, I just kind of took stuff off the pedal, and I felt the effects of that, which I've later dealt with since then, but I kind of went back down, took a step back. It was all subconscious, of course. When you left Newark and now we're on the campus of Villanova, right?
I know where this is going.
Right? Like, and because I just love talking about people's journeys, right? And I love learning and hunting human excellence. How is that, first of all, the transition, but then feeling like, hey, I deserve this, and dealing with that level of success? And I'm talking before the NBA.
Rob, that's a great question. When I left Newark and went to Villanova University, I was in shock. And I said,
I believe it.
The first thing I said, where are all the black people at? Where are the Spanish people at?
Yep.
I was in shock.
Yep.
Right. And I was homesick.
Yeah.
And one thing that, I applaud Coach Wright on, he knew it.
Yep. He saw it.
Yep. So he kind of, called my AAU coach. He talked to Freddie.
Yep.
Freddie talked to me. My AAU coach talked to me. And once he let those guys talk to me, he came to me and basically was asking, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And he talked to me about, am I okay? Probably for like, I would say 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he basically explained, like, this is what it is. This is the real world.
Yeah.
He was like, if you look around just the country, is it supposed to be this way?
Nope.
But
this is the way it is.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
Will it change? Yeah. It's going to change, right? And he talked to me. And once that happened, right, I just would be in class and it does something to you, right? In a positive way when you're the only black kid in there, right?
Yep.
And you're sitting around all white kids.
Yeah.
You maybe have a Spanish kid here and there, right? My wife went there and she's Spanish, but you may have a Spanish kid here and there, but for the majority of it, it make you feel like you don't want to let your community down, right?
So you have a higher purpose.
Yeah, so I can remember, professors, we're reading in class, right? And the professor will call on me first. I'm like, shit, I can read.
Yeah.
Right? Be doing presentations, which I hated.
Yeah.
Right? Almost broke out in hives.
Yeah.
But I would get up there and do it.
Yep.
Sweating like a maniac.
Yes. Do the thing you fear to do, the death of fear is certain.
But it put me in situations where, as I, started my foundation, where I was the keynote speaker.
What's the name of the foundation?
Randy Foye Foundation.
Randy Foye Foundation. Excellent.
I was the keynote speaker every year.
Yeah.
Villanova I give them all the credit in the world. They prepped me for it. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I took an acting class where
Did you really?
Where I had to do a monologue at the end.
Wow.
I had to do like I would say like a 4 to 5 paragraph monologue that I had to memorize
and act
and
it
do
out.
it and act it out and do it in front of the class.
What was your character?
I was in the Vietnam War.
As what though? As a soldier or
I was
sergeant?
a soldier.
Okay.
And
you got to go like jump over.
The person next to me just was shot in the torso.
So you got to be shocked and
so I had to
devastated,
plug the wound.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
So and Father Peter, who is our president now, he was the professor who taught that acting class.
It's amazing.
And in the beginning, I was like looking at Father Peter. Come on, Father. Like, serious? I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
You had to dance and do certain things, but he kind of broke me out of my shell.
Yeah.
And I can remember going to the NCAA tournament and being a quiet kid that really didn't say much.
Yeah.
Right? I was the face of the team.
By what, junior or senior?
This was my junior year.
Yeah.
Whenever the mic came
Got
around.
Were you in the press conferences all the time?
Yeah. They would be in the press conference and they'd say, hey guys, any one of you can answer this question. What happened here? And I'll like, hey, you know what? We just got to play Villanova basketball. We got to stick together.
Yeah.
And then I would see Coach Wright sometime like, I
liked it.
And then afterwards, I love it, Dusky. And he saw where I was going.
Yeah.
That I was breaking out of my shell. And it wasn't because of anything, that I just was uncomfortable, articulating myself in front of a crowd.
It's amazing.
Like, I always wanted to, I'm a pleaser. So when I'm talking, I want to connect with you, him, her, whoever it is. I just want to connect with everyone. And I want everyone to understand exactly where I'm coming from.
Amazing. So at what point did you understand that there was an NBA future? And I want to talk about your senior year on the tournament run, but before you guys ran into Florida, when did you know?
I knew in high school because it was a lot of guys that was like ranked higher than me and at the ABCD camp.
That's a great camp.
Yeah.
For all the folks that's like the camp.
It's Fairleigh Dickinson in North Jersey. And LeBron was there.
That's when he beat out that other guy,
Lenny Cook.
Yeah.
LeBron was there and we did a segment where they were following like LeBron and Sebastian Telfair. And then they had a little segment of me. And the guy was supposed to follow me, I I had pneumonia.
Okay.
So I was sick.
Got it.
Had to leave. So it was my day.
And you didn't get
sick. I was number 18 in the country.
Got it.
And the day he was supposed to do it, I was sick. So I dropped from 18 to 76.
Just like that.
Yep. But I'm looking at these guards.
But you already knew.
Yeah. But I knew from playing against them.
Yeah.
And it's an article. I said something to somebody in the Star Ledger, like I could go straight out of high school if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It was like a big deal, and people were like clowning me and laughing.
Yeah.
But I remember my uncle, I came home, my uncle was like, hey man, don't forget about the little people.
But that must have been pressure too, though.
Yeah.
When you started to get successful, like the pressure that you must have felt, I'm assuming, to take care of people.
Yeah, but they didn't understand. Like they
never would.
They didn't understand how good I was.
Oh, okay.
They just thought like I was just playing. They didn't, like when I went to the ABCD camp, no one knew about my grandmother.
Okay, got it.
And then some of the, like my boys,
yeah,
like, oh, you're going to ABCD, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
But no one understood the level of basketball I was playing.
Yeah.
They thought I just was going places and playing open gym.
Yeah, but you knew at that point.
I knew, like from playing, that I didn't know I would make it, but I knew I had a chance. And I knew I was putting myself in situations to perform in front of certain people where if I perform right against the right guy, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So I go to, I think I was like 76, and I think I worked my way all the way back up to like 45 by the end of it, right? And I decide to go to Nova. Yeah. And I get to Nova, I start right away, and I would say like those first 9 games, I was killing. Yeah. We were 5-0 in conference play. We beat Michigan State at the Alaskan shootout, and I'm the starting point guard. Wow. And I'm doing. That's impressive. Yeah, he let us go. And I'm like, holy crap. Yeah. So it went from like, oh, he might have to do 2 years to like, he might be going after his freshman year. Yeah. And we're playing so well. We're 5-0. And
you had a mature body too, like an NBA body, right?
I was strong. Freshman. I was a big kid, can handle the ball, get in the paint, shoot over people. Yeah. Because a lot of the guards in the Big East at the time was like small, quick, like strong guards. And it was like, oh man, you can go. Yeah. Like Marbury type, Baron Davis type. Yeah. And I was like, oh. So I started thinking about it. And then within like 3 weeks, we get hit with a NCAA violation. We had like a phone card scandal.
I didn't know that.
Yep. They like went back 10 years prior.
Oh my God.
And
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, majority of the students was using this code. And the program after that just was in shock because guys got suspended.
Players?
And and they rolled over into sophomore year.
Wait, so you didn't even you couldn't even make the tournament as a freshman?
Yeah, we didn't make the tournament. No, we didn't make it.
You thinking about transfer?
My sophomore year, I was thinking about transferring.
That's a normal thing, right?
Because it just was intense, man. And coach, it wasn't going his way. It was a lot of articles out there questioning, is he the right coach for the job? And it just wasn't going our way.
And he must have that must have been very.
Yeah, it was tough.
How did he handle that?
You can see it. It just was tough
for you to stay and like.
But I had a conversation with Freddie Hill. It was like, I just don't think this is the spot for me. Yeah. And he was asking me why. I was just saying, coach is on me, for the littlest things. Yeah, yeah. And then, looking back to my senior year, all of the things he was on us about was the reason why we made it so far. We made it to the Elite Eight. The reason why I was the Big East Player of the Year, first team All-American, right? First team All-Region that we were in, right? Lottery pick. The reason why I played 11 years in the NBA is a lot of the little things that coach always talked about.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So let me ask you this. You said you met your wife in college?
Yes.
What's your wife's name? I've never met your wife, so I don't.
My wife is like super low key.
Yeah.
Don't love the spotlight. Just even when like I'm getting inducted into the Villanova Hall of Fame. Like my jersey, my number is retired there. My jersey that I wore is retired there for what I did. Yeah. While I was there. Now I'm getting inducted to the Villanova Hall of Fame.
Congratulations.
In January.
Awesome.
And she's the keynote speaker. Not the keynote speaker, but
she's introducing you.
She's the one who's making an introduction.
And how did you meet? I mean, you meet in college, but like we met together.
Yeah, we met in class. So we had like a lot of mutual friends.
What's her first name? I'm sorry.
Christine.
Yeah. Yep.
We had a lot of mutual friends went to Father Peter's acting class.
Yeah.
So we were in a geography class.
So that was a big class.
Yeah.
Got it.
We were in a geography class. A lot of the athletes took it.
Yeah.
We were in a geography class and we just started talking, and we knew just like athletes always stuck together.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And we started talking, and then
and she was a
year younger.
soccer?
Yes, she played soccer.
Got it.
She played soccer at Newman. And we were talking, we were friends, and everyone had each other's numbers. So over like the break, I was like, let me ask this girl if she want to go out.
Yeah.
Right? And so I asked her, did she want to go out? I think we went to Champs. Remember Champs?
Yeah. Yes.
It was like, and I took her out to Champs, and I remember we were sitting like this.
Yeah.
And it's a TV up, and she's like talking, and I'm watching the basketball game the whole time.
Yeah.
But
probably hasn't changed.
Yeah. And then after that, we just we dated, but then like it seemed
so
like
your whole college experience, you were with her? Kind of?
No, just she's younger.
Oh,
so it's like my junior year.
Right.
That's when we started dating. My junior year, we started dating, but we were young, and we'll like date for like 3 months, and then we'll break up.
Got it.
Then we'll date for 3 months, but then by like junior year, like towards the end of junior year, we just was completely locked in.
Yeah.
Because I was getting ready to go to Izmir, Turkey,
for
to play in the World University Games for the U.S. And just was completely locked in. Yeah, we were completely locked in after that.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks, man.
What
Appreciate
an awesome time.
Yep.
Yes. Thanks.